Good day, friends. Welcome to this most recent edition of the WordofGord Spirit Contact. Today, November the 5th, I'm hoping to interact with the spirit of the Canadian musician and cultural icon of the, I guess the 20th century. Yes, Glenn Gould. He's been passed on since the 1980s, and I've been feeling his presence around recently. Good morning, Mr. Gould. Good morning. Well, good morning to you, sir. And your name here is Gordon. Yes, you've been introduced, I take it. Well, you've introduced yourself. You've sought me out in the spirit world and suggested that I come to visit you so that you may record my thoughts, if such can be said, about the words I am about to say. You realize, of course, that you're not meeting the real Glenn Gould. You're coming up against one of the facsimiles. For such is what transpires on this plane of magic and illusion, this hereafter endlessly replicating itself in many different scenarios and fashions, if you like. So, Glenn, you're not the real Glenn? Well, after a fashion I am. This is genuine and sincere, but this is me talking, yes, but it's only one of the me's. I had what some would call a bifurcated personality even when I was on Earth. I could be a number of people, and I could play act characters for, fun basically, as you will perhaps remember on various radio programs and album notes where I would pretend to be a German professor or a this or a that in order to entertain myself and others and get away from the confining identity of Glenn Gould, the piano player. Glenn Gould, the interpreter of the glorious classics, such as Johann Sebastian Bach and Arnold Schoenberg. I see, Glenn. I understand, of course, and would be happy to participate in such a theatrical endeavor, if that's how you'd like to see it. Well, yes, that's how I would like to see it. And be it, if you like. See it and be it. I see. Wow. I am charmed. I'm quite thrilled, actually. And was thinking of you just recently when the 2005 documentary Hereafter was playing in my home theater. And I was listening as you spoke of always believing that there was a functioning hereafter, and that you looked forward to arriving there and being there, and would castigate any of those who would, what did you say, promote the here and now philosophy. Yes, I would feel the presence of eternity in not only the music of Johann Sebastian Bach, but the lakes and forests of the Canadian landscape in which I would wander any chance I got. So, Glenn, you're more than happy with your expanded existence in the hereafter? Yes, happy, fulfilled, endlessly curious. There are many ways to experience the expanding universe, the eternity that I thought I longed for. And now I find out, after being here some time, quote unquote time, that eternity is here. And there's not only one of them, there are several. Any of which you can inhabit, excuse me, Glenn, I got that one wrong, inhabit as you wish. There are some who have a strictly defined hereafter. They follow their society, their culture, their religion. I choose to stand outside of that stream of existence and be indefinable series of characters, all of which can or will express the many points of view and realities I experience as I move around this paradise of heavens. Glenn, I see you playing organ in various churches. Oh yes, I certainly take advantage of every opportunity to do so. And I am more than willing to be the well-behaved devotee of that religion in order to be accepted in that community. There are churches and chapels and cathedrals here, and some of them have the most magnificent organs, which I would willingly line up to play, as many do. Glenn, you were a wizard in the recording studio, utilizing the then newish technology of the day, the ability to edit and overdub and retake. I assume you've found even more amazing abilities in the astral world for recording. Oh, indeed, there is so much more here. I have experimented in a number of ways. Do you like giving concerts any more than you used to? Well, it's less of a trial given the absence of finances and fussy audiences and travel. As you know, instantaneous teleportation is the norm here, at least for most folk. And I willingly embraced that when it was given to me as a reality. I can be anywhere where I would express my beingness and my abilities. You speak of being completely fulfilled. That in itself must be a marvelous experience. Oh, indeed it is. One feels no sense of lack, no sense of something missing, anything missing. It's all there. It's all there to be explored and expressed. Have you become more interested in composition now, Glenn? Yes, I have. The seeds that were started within me in my life in Canada, in Toronto, in southern Ontario, have had much greater freedom for expression now. The possibilities, of course, are endless, as are the triumphant meetings with my favored, as you would say, icons. One leaves behind one's ambition to meet and interact with the geniuses of the past, as they are all present and available for interaction. Wonderful to do a piano for hands interaction with Mr. Bach. And others like Ludwig van Beethoven and Arnold Schoenberg and Anton Webern. To name but a few. Do I see sonatas with Yehudi Menuhin? Yes, you do. And he's much in demand over here. The love for his fiddling is endless, as he says. So you live in a world of music, Glenn. I mean, you always did. So how much more music is there? Well, there is no resting. And I say that in the sense of not being tied to some wheel of production and performance. I say that as no desire to rest. other than what you might call contemplative walks in the marvelous landscapes of this world. Contemplative walks and silence in one's soul as one listens to the voices and songs of nature. Here the trees do not seem capable of music. They are. They have their own harmonic abilities that one learns to listen for and actually hear. Can you tune them out when you wish to play and practice? Oh, yes, I can go in my studio, one of several, and do exactly that. Glenn, I take it you'll, like many, enjoy flying. Ah, yes. The joys of flight when one is a little fussy on instant teleportation and wants to, slow down a bit. It is one more expression that is available to those who would explore. So, Glenn, you find that there are people who do not wish to explore? Oh, yes, there are many citizens of conventionality who seek to, replicate more or less their lives and pursuits, interests, relationships as they were on earth. And God bless them for being the rock on which communities are founded and functioning. You're a bit of an outlier, I guess. Well, yes, as all artists and eccentrics are. There is a balance between those who follow the old ways and those who invent the new ones. You are aware, Gordon, of being 2 and 3 beings at once, if not more. Yes, Glenn, I was wondering if you'd get to that. Do you play with other versions of yourself? Yes, I've been working on that. We've produced what you would call a film of 3 or 4 Glens all interacting and playing music, as you would say, together. The very young Glen, the teenager, the mid-20s Glen, the mid-30s Glen, and the Glen who would be familiar from television appearances in his so-called later years, which by other standards weren't really later, but, a little bit later. Imagine 4 Glens all playing in different scenarios and moving from, how shall we say, medieval to Renaissance polyphony to romantic expression to Baroque to the, how shall I say, the Second Viennese School. I can find a way of mixing them together that is, I feel, pleasing and challenging at the same time. And the ability to mix and match here is just remarkable. So do you select your audiences carefully, Glenn? Yes, I do. But the element of surprise is one that I employ regularly. You mean you just show up at performance venues and start to play? Yes, I do. And there are community centers and clubs and open air mini cathedrals where one can play, as there is no rain or humidity or freezing temperatures to wreck the tuning of the instruments. Glenn, it became apparent after you passed to some researchers and biographers that you were not the pursuer of a monkish bachelor existence, but did in fact have a relationship, a very quiet relationship, with a lady who had a couple of children. And this much surprised those of us who had no idea that you had play acted the lover and husband and father for a number of years. You made a very successful concealment of that. Yes, well, I didn't want it to interfere with my life and have my revered status interfere with the privacy of their lives. It was, amongst some, a well-known secret, but people were, respectful of our desires to keep it private and live a almost normal life. So, Glenn, are you continuing that life there in the other world? I am continuing many lives in this world. And to say that I interact with a sort of promiscuous joyfulness with many would be an understatement. Because privacy and silence is so accessible, the noise of public activity can easily be balanced. One does not have to run from it. One does not have to run from anything. Glenn, how do you feel about the relationship of humanity to other species? And I'm thinking of domestic pets and visitors from other planetary systems who are very present in this world now, very publicly present, and I'm sure they must also be in your world. Well, they don't force themselves upon us. You can arrange get-togethers and interactions if you wish. They are very kind to our nervous sensibilities. They do not interfere unless asked, unless invited. And I do see you with your favorite pet dog. The fellow that you took the photograph with playing the piano with you as a young man, which I was much charmed by. Oh yes, he is here. And dogs are as happy as anyone else in this world, romping about freely. There is so much freedom in this world. It's just remarkable. Those who were constrained by political systems, some of whom I played for in the 50s and 60s, they are no longer constrained, and they are themselves much happier. There is a lot of readjustment here. Pretty much everyone, is adjusting to the freedoms of this world after having been trained to be good citizens in your world. Good citizens by many standards. No, they don't have to be good anything. They can be fun-loving kids for some, a summer camp, for others at, how shall I say, resort hotels, fabulous cities that make Dubai look almost primitive. And the visitors, the other species from other planetary systems, they are careful not to shock. As you know, they have unusual appearances, unusual looks. But again, my curiosity overcame my resistance, whatever resistance I might have had. Yes, the beings from other planetary systems, I play for them once in a while. They have their own music, their own sense of rhythm and harmony. But they're more than willing to experience mine. At least some of them seem to have been observers of humanity for many hundreds of years, quietly taking in the data of our experiences and learning from them. They do seem to know us quite well. Almost a little too well for my taste. So, yes, Glenn, at this point in these communications, I sometimes ask people what they have to say to those who knew them on Earth. And I would say, Gordon, why do I hear the phrase, "be glad for the song has no ending"? That is your phrase. Ah, yes, it's a song I know of, a music group that I know of. And let's hear what you have to say. Well, do not fret, do not worry, do not expose yourself to the anxieties of negative influence. Allow your vision of paradise and heaven to be manifested when you get here in the way that would make you most comfortable and happy. There are many paradises here, each one of them tailored to suit certain personalities, expressions of personalities and culture. There is no lack of opportunity. I, of course, am involved in musical activities, but many are involved in many other creative activities. Many. Everything that you can imagine on Earth can be done here, and more. So I would say, be happy, my friends on earth, even if your life has elements of difficulty and challenge. Wait out the time of challenge and experience the fulfillment of the transition to here, the transition to multi-dimensional experience, which I know you know very well, Gordon. Yes, Glenn, I have certain experiences, only some of which I remember when I come back to physical plane life. I did, at one occasion, record seeing Angela Hewitt play a Mozart concerto that is not known to us on Earth. And that was sometime in what I would call the future. And I'm not sure she would even remember doing it herself. Might think of it as a fantasy, but yeah, people do travel through time, and physically real people here in their sleep time do travel in time, as Angela did. And I do recall meeting up and chatting with a very young Gustav Mahler and hearing what he had to say about trying to dissuade devotees from praising him overmuch and being too respectful. He wanted to be young and playful. So I do have a little experience of that, Glenn, but I imagine there's quite a bit more that you're seeing that I'm not quite remembering, because one's ability to recall the multidimensional magic of the world you are in is somewhat limited by one's brain. Yes, Gordon, I get it. We've discussed this when you have visited here. And I sense that your time for this interview is almost up. And I give my greetings to not only the citizens of planet Earth, the ones who loved my music and knew of me, but also the ones that knew nothing of me. May you all unfold as you wish and become the eternal spirits that I know you are, that you may suspect you are, but are nervous about saying so. May you all arrive here, as I know you will. And with that, I will bid you all farewell and thank you, Mr. Gordon Finn, for being available to communicate this message from the one who was once Glenn Gould and who even earlier was other folk who I will not name, as it will be just a little too risque. Of course I was a musician in past lives, but I'm not going to go on with that. So bye-bye for now. Bye, Glenn.